So thank you so much for your response. Very well prepared, detailed, with supporting information. So I appreciate your response, but let me go ahead and rebut it here real quick. The reason why most civil rights cases fail on procedural default is because people such as yourself have no idea where rights actually come from. So let me go ahead and inform you and educate you here real quick. Rights always derive from another's duty to act. Okay, that's the doctrine of duties and rights. Okay, so a law is nothing more than the establishment of an obligation. An obligation. So I have an obligation to not kill someone. I have an obligation not to steal from someone. I have an obligation to not assault someone. If I breach my obligation and I assault someone, then their right to not be assaulted has been violated, but their right does not exist until someone breaches their duty to act. So let me go ahead and say, when it comes to public officials, all right, the duty must come before the right. And there's two reasons why that is. Okay, first off, the main body of the Constitution, Articles 1 through 7, this establishes the obligations of government. Nowhere within Articles 1 through 7 do you find a single right. Go ahead and look it up, inform yourself, learn what I'm talking about, and then come back and have a debate with me. Okay, Articles 1 through 7 creates obligations. A great example would be Article 3, where it says that the trial of all crimes, with the exception of impeachment, shall be by jury, and the trial shall occur in the state in which the crime is said to have been committed. Is that a duty or is that a right? That is in fact a duty, because it's directing someone else as to the way in which you can adjudicate all crimes with the exception of impeachment. That is not a right to trial by jury. That is a duty that establishes government. So my point here is that Articles 1 through 7, that was ratified and adopted by the people, the main body of the Constitution, on September 17th, 1787. Okay, so the duties came in 1787. Then the Bill of Rights were adopted and ratified by the people on December 15th, 1791. Therefore, the duty comes before the right. Okay, that's the first way that you can look at it. Now, the second way you can look at it is this, is that when a judge enters into his office, he makes a promise, swears a future outcome. That future outcome is in the terms of that future outcome is established and codified in the Constitution of the United States, the contractual terms. So when Article 6 says the judges in every state shall be bound thereby anything in the Constitution or laws we state contrary notwithstanding, that means that they must do what the Constitution of the United States says that they must do, right? And that is a duty that comes before anybody walks into that courtroom. They made a promise of a future outcome. Therefore, the duty comes before the right. Okay? So, take, for instance, once again, Article 3, the trial of all crimes, with the exception of impeachment, shall be by jury, and the trial shall occur in the state in which the crime is said to have been committed. If that is a duty that government must follow, the judges must follow to ensure that there is a trial by jury, then when a judge says to you, do you want to give up your trial by jury and enter into this plea? That judge has no authority to do it, because before you have the right to give up, that judge has to breach his duty of ensuring that the trial by jury is provided. Therefore, the rights are inalienable. You cannot give them up. Just like Miranda versus Arizona in 1958 says that where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rule or legislation created which would abrogate it. No judge can create a ruling that would permit the abrogation of a constitutional right, because that duty, that obligation comes before the right. Okay. Now, a second one would be the rules of civil procedure, where it says that rules must not conflict with statutes, nor impair the legal rights of the parties involved. Thus, a court has no power to create a rule which would constitute a waiver of a constitutional right. You cannot waive a constitutional right because the duty comes before the right. So let me ask you, how are you going to sue someone if you haven't first shown that they have a duty to act? The duty to act comes by way of a breaking of the law, a breach of obligation. That's what breaking the law is, a breach of obligation. So don't come here and tell me that you know more about this than I do. You must first show that someone else has a duty to act before you have any rise to civil injunction or civil relief. So you're wrong, 100%. And if you want to debate me, bring back some proof and evidence. Don't just say not true, because you don't know what you're talking about. I do. I'm qualified in this. This is what I do. I've been doing it for 25 years. I have a master's degree from the most expensive university in the United States, where I graduated with 398 GPA, right, with distinction. I know what I'm talking about. Listen to me, or get off my page.